I know I'm late and I'm sorry. I had a shitty week. My mental health was not so good.
They ask you how you are, you just have to say that you're fine when you're not really fine, but you just can't get into it because they would never understand.
So I decided to take a week off to kind of rearrange my life. But anyway, I'm back. I'm still not feeling that well, so today's video is going to be a podcast, basically. So without any further ado, let's get started. As you can see from the title, today I'm going to share my tips on how to study Korean efficiently. These are the tips I learned throughout years of struggling with this language, and I think it can help you guys out no matter which level you are on right now. I received a lot of requests for this specific topic, so here I am. There are reasons why I think you should find out which is the right way to study a language, and in this case, Korean language. I'm not saying my tips are the best way to study Korean, but they work for me, so I'm sharing these with you, hoping that they will work for you as well. The first reason is every language has its own grammar, semantics, and pragmatics, so you have to find the right approach for every language you learn in order to get the best results in the shortest period of time. The second reason is, though different from one another, all languages share the same 5 main elements, which are phonemes, morphemes, lexemes, syntax, and context. These 5 elements build each other up and work together to form coherent communication between people. So to efficiently learn a language, you have to strip it down to the most basic layer and then go up from there. Now let's get into the real deal. Number 1, alphabet first. I've seen people in study groups posting dumb shits like, I want to study Korean, but I don't know what to learn first. And I just cannot understand. What the fuck did they teach you when you started elementary school? The fucking alphabet, of course. If you're willing to bone with Korean, then first you gotta become familiar with it. And what's the better starting point than the alphabet? And to some of you out there who have no idea what Korean is like, it's not just a bunch of squiggles and you don't have to learn like 1,000 characters to be able to read something. That's Chinese and we're talking about Korean. There are only 21 vowels and 19 consonants, so don't be lazy, people. The truth is, Korean people used to write using classical Chinese and shit tons of other phonetic writing systems. But since there are too many characters to learn, but no one need to afford proper education, like me, many lower-class Koreans were illiterate. So one day King Sejong the Great said fucked it and went on to create a new, easier-to-learn alphabet, which is called Hangul nowadays. It is so easy to learn that there's actually a saying about alphabet like this. 슬기로운 사람은 하루 아침을 마치기 전에 깨우친다. 어리석은이라도 열흘이면 배울 수 있다. Which means a wise man can acquaint himself with them before the morning is over. Even a stupid man can learn them in the space of 10 days. You can be the wise man and master the alphabet in the morning, or be the stupid one and take the time to digest it. Your choice anyway. Number 2, vocabulary over grammar. I used to have this thick grammar dictionary with me everywhere I go when I first started learning Korean because I thought it was a good idea to master all the grammar structures first before diving into the unlimited wonder of vocabularies. But I was wrong. I've been living in Korea for almost 2 years now, and almost all of the people I talked and still am talking to use pretty basic grammar structures. The only difference between intellectual speeches and informal daily speeches is the usage of vocabulary. Your grammar skill only needs to be at the intermediate level for you to communicate without much problem, but if you want to expand your understanding of the language or improve your communication skill, you have to focus on expanding your vocabulary capacity. There are 3 main types of words in Korean language, which are pure Korean words, loan words mostly from English, and words based on Chinese character. My Korean professor taught me that if I want to nail my Korean language efficiency test, I will have to expand my Chinese originated vocabulary since it's the most commonly used type of words in Korean language. For those of you who cannot tell the difference between those 3 types of words, here are some examples. Pure Korean words are originally created by Korean people or through refining loan words and words based on Chinese characters. For example, the word haram, which means when, is a pure Korean word. Next, we have loan words, which usually come from English and Japanese. One simple example, English has banana, while Korean has banana. And finally, words that are based on Chinese characters. For example, there are two words for egg in Korean, 계란 and 달걀. While 달걀 is pure Korean word, 계란 is a word based on these Chinese characters. Number 3. Practice over theory. As you fall deeper into this Korean hole, you will eventually find out that it is actually a very interesting language to learn and to practice. I always tell my followers and my students that I don't usually study through books or textbooks and such, especially with Korean. Quick confession, when I was studying Korean at university, I had this huge workbook that came with a textbook so I can do homework and practice after class. I never did my homework. I know this is setting a bad example, but I am not condoning this kind of action. Do your homework, people. Be better than me. Books teach you the most basic and the most standard Korean, which will sound pretty awkward if you applied it into real-life conversations. You're not wrong at all, but you'll probably sound awkward and too serious at times. For example, this is what you learn in books. 저는 술에 약해요. And this is what real-life conversations are gonna teach you. 전 RC예요. I can list a few reasons to why you should practice your communication skill with a native rather than staring intensely at the book and hoping that everything will be imprinted into your mind. First of all, Koreans like to use abbreviations. For example, alba is short for 아르바이트, which means part-time job. 고3 is short for 고등학교 3학년, which means 12th grade student. Books won't teach you these. You will have to pick these up yourself while actually communicate with people. Secondly, word order doesn't mean shit in Korean. A word's role in a sentence is not determined by its position, but rather by the postpositional particle following it. For example, this is what you will learn in book. 저는 밥을 먹었어요. And this is what I usually say when someone asks me if I ate. 저 먹었어요, 밥을. The third reason, there are tons of newly coined words being made up almost every day, and people love to use these words so they will seem like an insider. A throwback to my first lesson. For example, you will never see 댕댕이, which means puppy in a standard Korean book. Number 4, be brave and mind your yo. Korean is a hierarchical language. You have to choose the right words depending on the person or people you're talking to. Some people tend to be afraid of speaking or talking to Korean people because of this. They worry that their mistakes can accidentally disrespect someone even though they do not mean to. Or you might be just like me, afraid of communication. But whatever your reason is, shutting yourself in and refusing to communicate is the biggest mistake you can ever make as a language learner. You're going to make mistakes, a lot of them. And the best and quickest way to fix them is to let others fix them for you. I know it is easier said than done, but whenever you feel like you cannot speak, just give yourself a push. Say whatever is on your mind and figure it out along the way. I still panic a little bit whenever I talk to someone face to face. Sometimes I can't really hear what people say and I would freak out and babbling bullshit that do not make any sense at all. In those situations, I usually take a deep breath, calm myself down, rearrange my stream of thoughts, and then try my best to put together a coherent sentence. It works every time for me, so I think you should try it too. And as I said, Korean is a hierarchical language. There are informal speech and honorifics in Korean. You can speak informally to your friends, people who are younger than you, or juniors in schools or workplace. But you have to use honorifics with people who are older than you and seniors in schools or workplace. People who are new to Korean find this hard and usually forget to use honorifics in their sentences. The best way to keep yourself from being a douche is by attaching that yo at the end of your sentences. That way people will not get offended and think that you are ill-mannered. One example, the word eat has two versions, the informal version, 먹다, and the honorific version, 드시다. Even if you use the wrong word when speaking to an older person, they can still kind of let it slide or, in the best scenario, correct it for you. Because you are a foreigner trying to learn their language, they are most likely not going to slander you for making a mistake, so don't be afraid to communicate. Number 5. Do not rely on romanization. I taught Korean before and I really don't like seeing my students scribbling the romanized pronunciation next to the word. The reason why I think romanization is not good for learning is that it can give you this sense of dependence. You're going to depend on the romanization and end up not learning the words themselves, but the romanized pronunciations instead. Take Korea views for example. I've low-key trashed them in one of my videos before, and I do not hesitate to do it again, because they are cringeworthy and I hate them. I used to rely completely on romanization when I was in 6th grade trying to learn Korean all by myself. I would print the romanized version of the lyrics of my favorite songs out and try to sing along in broken Korean. I just exposed myself for YouTube. Please support me, patreon.com/Halley'sAdventure. I am not completely ruling romanization out of the process of learning. Let's just say if you want to write a Korean name in English, you have to know the right way to romanize Korean words. For example, the family name Park is written as Park and not Park, even though there is no R in the word. I'm just telling you not to rely on it too much. This brings us back to my number one tip, which is getting yourself familiar with the alphabet. Once you master the alphabet, you will have no problem reading the words at all. So get your ABC right, people. And that's it for today's video. I figured it would be short, too short for some of y'all likings, but your girls gotta rest too. School starts next week and I'm in denial right now. I'll make another video in the future sharing more tips, spilling more tea for you guys. But it is a bye-bye for now. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and give me some love in the comment. Stay savage, and I'll see you in the next video.